Good evening, everyone. Today we have the first session of the Startup Square webinar, and I welcome Shri Hemant Silvan sir from BOSS DNA. So, I will just give a brief introduction about him. Mr. Hemant drives the business practice of personalization called Aero, which offers personalized solution powered by artificial intelligence-based engine. In the new age of digital world, this enables business to reach out customer as well as the address customer reach through better personalized experience across mobility. Aero was set up in an entrepreneurial venture and is evolving into practice at RBI, which is Robert Boss Engineering. In addition to this, Mr. Hemant has taken up the responsibility of the Open Innovation Program at Bosch India, which is with responsibility towards driving innovation through the DNA Startup Alliance Program, enabling India as an innovation hub. He has a 17-year plus experience in Bosch, and he has taken up several technology roles, starting from software to system design, including a global product management role for global OEMs, followed by focus on strategy and business in the role of executive assistance to the CEO of Robert Bosch Engineering and Business Solution. He also has quite entrepreneurial experience venture with Basic as a part of Bosch Startup Program, which has now transformed into IRO and has run as a practice from RBEI. Mr. Hemant has an executive MBA from University 18 School Business and postgraduate diploma in digital business from MTS Institute of Management, Singapore. So I welcome Hemant sir to host this session and Hemant sir, over to you.
Thank you, Saurabh. Hemantji, welcome to Gujarat through this e-meet and webinar. And it's a privilege to have always listened to you and experiences from Open Innovation Program that you have been designing, championing, and leading across various verticals of BOSS. We have been talking a lot about how a vibrant innovation and startup ecosystem need to be created, and a great deal of work has been done by all of us in the ecosystem individuals in the state of Gujarat. But presently, what we are trying to do is we are trying to integrate this triple helix. One is academia-led innovation. We have 80 plus universities, more than 5,000 institutions. We are setting up incubation centers. The second component is the industry. Predominantly the progressive small and medium enterprises across the state who are keen to innovate and contribute significantly to the innovation value chain in the state and the nation. And the third is civil society organizations who are playing critical role in terms of enabling the ecosystem. So we are trying to put all together and see how an open innovation and open startup ecosystem can be created. So we have gone through the work that we have done, the presentation and the efforts that we have been doing. We have taken some inspiration for sure, but today your talk will highlight more on how we can look at the heuristics of the efforts and insights that you have been championing in your open innovation efforts and involving startups to co-create with large giant corporation like BOSS. Here in Gujarat offers a very strong innovation pipeline, very progressive and entrepreneurial mindset, and very supportive environment for early stage innovation and entrepreneurs. But we also need industries interventions, industries mentorship, industries involvement, both from strategic and also other purviews. So herein, we would love to hear from you, Hemantji. I don't want to stand between our audience today who are listening from all our incubators, universities, and stakeholders in the ecosystem, and between you. May I request you to start the presentation? Thank you.
Thank you. So glad to be here. I'm Hemant. I take care of the Open Innovation Program in Bosch India. And as a part of that, there is a Startup Alliance program called DNA. DNA Next is the new age DNA. It's a platform to connect with the startup ecosystem. So but before I go on more to DNA, I also have set up an internal startup within Bosch, which was funded by Central Germany. So I also am an entrepreneur myself. working on an investment to build up a potential product from scratch on artificial intelligence, and now it is running as a practice. So I wear both the hats, and coming from being an entrepreneur to now managing certain funds, managing certain innovation programs within Bosch has been a good ride for me. My discussion with Hiranmai ji has been good till now, and we have been evaluating multiple points of collaboration opportunities, and looking at where each of us can learn from the other, put the best practices from each other into our current existing setups. Thanks again for this opportunity. I would like to now take you through a very short glimpse on what we do with DNA Next. DNA Next is a program where we are now trying to bridge the gap of a corporate with the startups, right? So at startup level, we have a lot of startups working in all these new age businesses, deep tech, high tech, as well as various domains which are relevant to a corporate. But we also realize there are certain problems within a company, within a corporate, which the corporate doesn't want to solve themselves. They don't want to invest money on solving something just because it is not a core, right? And this is where we believed that working with a startup, bridging the gap between a startup and a business unit, really aids to fulfill certain objectives, helping both the business and startup to reach a market, to solve certain customer problems at the right time, at the right cost, and together benefiting both. With that in perspective, we actually set up the DNA in a way where we start off with search fields, which is theme focused, relevant to Bosch businesses. We talk to our internal unit heads, where we collect problem statements from each of these let's say business units, and then from there we actually go on to look at if we can build a demo, a demonstrator, a proof of concept, a pilot, and take it to our customers as a go to market strategy. And from then on, we actually move on to looking at how this can be a learning curve to better our offering together. How can we come up with a good opportunity for offering something which is validated by an end customer in the market, and hence the focus is on co-creation and go-to-market as an opportunity. So DNA stands for discover, nurture, and align, the three steps where we look at how to discover which are the startups benefiting Bosch's interest areas. How, once the startups are selected and they come in, how can we nurture them through our facilities, infrastructure, mentorship, or also using our channels for market. And then the third one is how to concretize it into a good alignment, an agreement between the two entities to make it the best for all. So as a part of this, we have two programs. So one is called the DNA cohort, where the early and mid-stage startups, we actually work with them to mentor, nurture, and help to align them with the businesses. The second one is called DNA Go, where we actually work with the mature startups to take them to the market. Right. So from this perspective, we have multiple engagement models. So the key ones that we are looking at is co-creation, where we are looking at building an end-to-end offering with the core of Bosch coming from Bosch and the adjacencies coming from the startup. Could also lead to a new IP creation. We are working on establishing a strong go-to-market partnership with the startups, or it could also be a strategic interest where there could be certain evaluation and investment done from Bosch in Germany on certain topics. Yeah, with this, we also look at different kinds of search fields. While the search fields are based on Bosch business, it is also aligned to the famous Gartner curve, right? So you can see here we have a curve which actually talks about when a particular technology is going to mature, how long it would take, when is the innovation stage, when is the market stage, and when will it actually help So we also align with this and accordingly look at startups which actually help us, which are already working on this and fitting to certain pre-aligned inputs and business unit search fields from Bosch. Yeah. So this is depicting a different typical stage of engagement, what we do with the startups, right from the point on identifying what are the problems to how we can actually do master classes, boot camps, how we can offer our infrastructure services to build certain pilots, how we can then help to validate the pricing or the business models, how we can, as an alignment part, sign off contracts, agreements, either with the customer or internally within Bosch. So these are some of the benefits that the startups get as a part of being a part of our cohort, right from, as I said, the use of office space to certain IoT, Internet of Things labs, to AI labs, where we have the state of the art high-tech softwares and the facilities, to access to market where our current customers who have a need for it, we can actually do a joint go to market. We have mentors, domain experts who are strongly trained, actually working with this team. Certain services like user experience based design thinking, the business model consulting, the legal and IP insights as well. The startups also get access to our training centers, because I think with this, why we do this, we believe that there's a coherent need for a corporate to work along with the ecosystem. It could be startups, it could be universities, for the better good of coming up with certain products or offerings which are beneficial to everyone, right? So this is the intent with which we actually do this. So this is going on since the last 4 years. Today, including this cohort, we have there have been more than 60 plus startups which have graduated. This is the fourth cohort, which is ending next week. We have certain success stories with one investment, four joint go-to markets, and three co-creations. And with this, we also, with the current cohort, we also have around four successful partnerships which are going on to the next stage. It is team focused with high tech, deep tech, IoT, data analytics, artificial intelligence, domain specific focus on mobility, topics like healthcare, industry 4.0. And also here you have a gallery which showcases how we have really tested certain prototypes, how we have roped in the startups and the mentors together to really do a demo day. Our partnerships include not just the startups and the internal mentors. We work with organizations like iHub. We work with consulates from Germany, Switzerland, Swissnex, Israeli consulates to get startups from these countries. We work with venture capitalists who also play a major role in guiding us in looking at which are the topics that are worthy of an investment. And some of the cases, venture capitalists themselves, even though it was not a part of the thing, they actually approach the startups to look at how they can fund it. Yeah. So for me, as an entrepreneur and working with various startups, the key messages that I would really like to look at giving the startups are focus on the key customer problems. So if you look at how, let's say, Apple was formed, or how IBM was formed, how Google was formed, right? It was all because the founders had some issues. Yeah. Um, where, for example, for Windows and this one, they wanted to go buy some computers, but they did not get. So they started inventing themselves, right? When it was Google, they found a need for a big, good search engine. Yeah. So in case of Hotmail, there was a necessity to look at how to have a better messaging and recording. And based on these, the founders actually put in their thoughts and came up with something which was disruptive, which was innovative. And today we know where Facebook is, where WhatsApp is. These were all coming up because the founders had some problems, which they themselves resolved to solve. Yeah. So key thing is to understand what is the business impact that this is coming. Is it going into the cost perspective? Is it going into a revenue perspective? Or is it going into a customer experience perspective? one of these three has to be there for a startup to succeed. Otherwise, there won't be any takers. Right? Pivot as needed. Don't hesitate to pivot if we feel something is not going on right. The topic may be right, the way we are doing it may be wrong. So think back, talk to external consultants, talk to people whom you're close to, talk to customers to look at why, where, or why would they buy it? What changes do they need? Be agile, very quick, fail fast, fail cheap is the mantra. Um, Marketing. Many of the startups fail to build up a brand for themselves, right? So we may have a wonderful offering, wonderful product with us, but it is also important that the external world knows this. Today, many startups are closed in house. They don't market themselves. They're not visible. They don't go to be present in various forums which are important, tie up with companies like NASCOM, TIE, or the government initiatives, wonderful initiative from Gujarat government or with the iHub, I would say. It is very important for the startups to be there because I think this is where one is you get visibility, the other one is you get the right push. Yeah. Going on further, I also believe that the right team is the key, right? Everyone coming with a similar set of a focus point, similar set of skills, strengths, competencies will not work out. There has to be complementary skills, skill sets. There has to be complementary offerings, competences in the team to really make it into a one complete team. Yeah. Focus on business model for success. What is the model whom, if you're, let's say, working with an SME, small and medium enterprise, a small and medium enterprise will not be able to give a one-time big amount of money, but as they go on, an outcome-based business model will really help. Whereas for a corporate, in at certain points, they may like to outright buy the platform or the product and then continue working on it themselves. So when you approach your customers, understand what is it that they are willing to pay for, and it is important to focus on that aspect. Last but not the least, 2 points, two major points, right? So quality is quite important. Many a times the quality, governance, compliance are not heeded, but it may take you through a POC or a demo, but it was when you're going full-fledged for a rollout, these things play a major role. So be aware of the region where you're going to. If it is India, look at what are the data privacy regulations for India, what are the certifications you require if you have a hardware, a CE certification, hardware certification, or if you're looking at what are the minimum key things that is required as a quality before you go to a corporate. Look at that and ensure that you are actually abiding by those topics. The last important point is it is quite important to network well, whether it is with the organizations or entities through the government or through corporates, but it is also important to network well with mentors, consultants, people who can actually put a word to others about you, right? So these are some key messages that I would have for the startups. So these are some of the startups which are there as a part of our current cohorts, where we are looking at multiple topics, right from mobility, where we have startups which are providing certain radar-based sensing, to startups like Uncanny Vision, which is more on the computer vision-based offerings, D.AI, where it is more on the voice-based offering, Gnani on voice, Adionics, which is providing battery. So across multiple things, including robotics, we have multiple startups working very closely with the businesses with us. Yeah, our Bosch business units, working on topics which are a real problem and taking it further ahead to the market. So open innovation is a concept which is there centrally driven. We encourage the startups to really work for successful business impact with our units. It's not just for, okay, the units corporate had a engagement, but it is also to ensure that we are going in the right direction. We are actually making the right business impact, addressing a problem for a customer, which is very important to have. Yeah. So this is my, I would stay at this slide with our motivation on what drives us. So what drives us is invented for life as Bosch. That is the motto of Bosch. So we want our products to spark enthusiasm, improve the quality of life, and help us conserve the natural resources. So this is what drives Bosch, and we also work with startups who follow a similar mantra to work on any other domains that we look at, to work on any other offerings, whether it's deep tech, high tech, multiple domains. So this is what we look at. Yeah. So with this, I would leave it at this, and also maybe open up a discussion with Hiranmai ji on how we can also look at on your thoughts on what are the important aspects from a startup that you're looking at.
Thank you so much, sir, for laying out the structure and processes that Bosch is using for engaging open innovation. Sir, should we take some questions with your permission? Sir, regarding this, that the method that you presented and the programs that Bosch is doing, what also we are looking at is we have over 100,000 kids who are doing their masters and PhD level research in the state. This year, we took a step that at least 25% of them work on real life industry challenges so that the innovations that will come from the labs, maybe translational or applied, they can hit the end consumer at some point of time. You might have closely worked with academic incubators or such researchers. Would you like to highlight some experiences towards that of working with innovators and researchers and trying to figure out for co-creation of any specific technology or IP?
Yeah. So definitely, thanks for that. We are actually having a good engagement with innovators, right? So there are several topics which we will not really be looking at to solve. Maybe it's not a core focus. I'll give you an example. So basically, we had a case where for automated testing, right? Bosch has works on infotainment modules for automotive. And in this case, we had an issue where the testing was basically done through manual methods or semi-automated methods. So in this case, one of the startups which came to us came up with a robotics-based automated machine where they were looking at probes which were on spindles working, and even on the pinch phone, a smartphone, they could actually work on by automated process. They could plan something. As Bosch, we were not producing such machines. Yeah, that was not the core. But this startup really helped us to accelerate or make an efficient, improve efficiency and productivity in our offering. And this startup, we have not only started using it ourselves, but along with us, we have taken it to Germany and to other units of Bosch, where today they are working with Germany, US, and other areas to really make a successful impact. Yeah. Apart from that, there are cases where things like voice, for example, voice is something, voice with Indian natural languages, right? So that is something which we wouldn't be able to really put on or articulate everything. So this is where startups, working startups, also really help us. And there have been some startups coming in directly from the colleges where they have made a wonderful impact working on these topics, and some of them at a Germany level have also been invested by Bosch.
Wonderful, sir. Sir, in case any startup or go-to market stage innovation want to reach out to large corporation like Bosch or programs like this, What is the general modus operandi? They write to you, or is there a methodology you vet their claims of technology, or how does that process works?
Yeah, so I mean, definitely me and my team are the right ones to really reach out to. You can also search for DNA Next. DNA website will also share an email ID with you, which can be really sent out, which can actually be taken startups either for nurturing when we start the next cohort, or also look at how we can help through certain modules, nurture sessions, and even one-off cases where they need support. We can work on that.
Wonderful. Sir, looking at the startup ecosystem of India, uh, we have fairly done well in digital technology. We have done decent in service sector. And now we are trying to catch Industry 4.0 and manufacturing, industrial automation, other sectors also. So if India want to leverage the value chain of manufacturing innovations or industrial automation or that kind of hard technologies, what should be the support system look like? What are the kind of efforts from the top down that we need to create, both from a holistic point of view, so that we could also, today we have hundreds of billions of dollars of IT exports, but can you do similar kind of thing for hard technology in these domains? And particularly when the entire globe is trying to catch the buzz of Industry 4.0 and industrial automation, how the ecosystem need to evolve in India to take a big pie of the game.
I mean, a very key point, right? So we can't just start off with something that we have. It is important to understand what is coming up as a part of the initiative, what is really coming up as a part of what companies are working on. And for that, it is important to do not only a market capture, but also a technology capture of what is happening. Yeah, this becomes an important aspect where we understand and build a technology roadmap of what is coming in, either in manufacturing. For example, automation is something which is picking up well. And what do you mean by automation? Automation need not be only in terms of robotics. Automation can also be in digitization, something which was done manually today is being done by sensors and devices, thereby saving a lot of time, improving a lot of correctness in what we offer, and additionally, also looking at how people can be reskilled and better utilized for high value opportunities. Yeah, so we have something called as a digital twin. Yeah, digital twin is a topic which can actually put on sensors to compressors to big machines, and also ensure that, for example, certain machines are which are out of reach of normal human beings because of the heat or the places where they are, can be constantly monitored and looked at from your laptops, from multiple things, right? So this is quite important. So if you are able to look at what are these technologies and start working on it upfront before any corporates does, these startups will have a better chance of working closely with the corporates.
Wonderful, sir. Sir, you have been interacting with a lot of emerging early stage ventures lately in your Open Innovation Program in India, with whom you are trying to create value both for the industry and market perspective. Would you like to highlight one or two use cases which might have been intriguing, which you think are innovative ones that young people are trying to solve in the industry?
Yeah. So I mean, a simple but a real good use case, which would definitely be something to look at, is a voice-based approach, right? So slowly, either due to COVID or even before that, people are slowly moving towards voice-based approach. You talk to your phone, you talk to the infotainment system on the car, you talk to kiosks when you go somewhere. So a touch-based method is slowly going away, and voice-based. How can you make voice more effective, right? Or how can you use robotics for really helping out with chores? I mean, it could be for a mundane job for which today a person is being used. It could be simply to look at how to do stock keeping in retail stores, how to really look at, let's say, um, um, looking at what shelf is empty, for example, right? So today it is being done manually. Can we do it through robots? Can we do it through cameras? Cameras and analytics through image is becoming a very, very critical thing, either for face recognition or for looking at which are the patterns that I can find through camera. Yeah. So these are some of the technologies which are really picking up, and these are all across domains, right? Artificial intelligence, deep learning, all deal with data. So anything to do with data from which you can build enrichable insights actually add a very good value.
Sir, we have some startups. We have few people who are working on Industry 4.0 and in advanced manufacturing, smart manufacturing, and all these areas. So, is there a way they get connected to your startup DNA program, or is there a cohort that you run quite frequently, or we should arrange a case-to-case basis interaction with the team, or how should we create an interface between the startups coming out of Gujarat sector and your program?
Yeah. So what we can do there is we can actually have a specific campaign for Industry 4.0, where we will also get in experts from the domain itself, from our Industry 4.0 topics. They can work on here on the startups, what they're offering, and we can also look at which are the ones which we can actually take with us for either for nurturing or partnering and running proof of concepts. So my proposal there would be, if you have a substantial number of startups, we can have a one-day session where they can pitch. We can listen along with me. We would have the Industry 4.0 domain experts, business leaders who will join me, and we can host those sessions.
Wonderful, sir. Sir, you have seen the entire ecosystem in Europe and in other countries, how industry and innovation centers predominantly in academia are very closely working. We have also a very ambitious plan in Gujarat Innovates. We are setting up incubation centers across our 80 universities. All our universities are of different domains and areas. And we are trying to create a semantic interface between our academic innovation centers and industry per se, in their domain or in broad. So if you want to create a very synergetic interlinkages between industry and these innovation centers, what is your suggestions? What are your understanding from the global best practices that you might have interfaced with? What are your suggestions for our efforts in the state to take it forward?
Yeah. So if I understand it right, it is not only for India but across the world, right? So as I said, it is important also to be a part of the government initiatives, to be visible, right? Because we also see that there are events happening where either the NASCOM or TI or Zinov are a good part of it, with high focus on startups. And there are recommendations from them for external startup initiatives as well. Yeah, but apart from that, people need to be on lookout for the government-based accelerators. So recently, last week, there was a program which concluded, which was organized by GINSEP, Germany-India Startup Exchange Platform, right? So in this case, external startups were asked to pitch. It was a LinkedIn campaign where startups were asked to pitch on specified problem statements. So the German companies Bosch, SAP, Mercedes-Benz, and Siemens Healthineers were a part of it. So we had four categories: mobility, healthcare, intelligent IoT, and smart manufacturing or advanced analytics, which were the four topics. And startups actually apply to those 4 topics, curated completely from LinkedIn campaigns. And some of the startups also have an opportunity to work with the teams in Germany, right? So it's not just India. So like the SwissNext has a lot of collaboration opportunities, right? So it is important to keep an eye and be aware, either follow on LinkedIn or work with Facebook to really be present on the social media, write to them, understand how we can work together and be aware. So that is a part about networking, which is very, very critical.
Wonderful. Sir, in terms of the IP, we have an IP policy for the innovators and startups in the state. We fund them upfront when their idea is sent to us, and we put a committee and check the novelty and all these things. So when an enterprise closely deal with a large corporation or any industry per se, what are the best ways to tackle the IP issues when they startups and corporate works, and what are your suggestions? Because sometimes the startups become a little insecure how to deal with it. So what are your advices for them?
See, IP is a very critical topic, right? So none of either the corporates or the startups want to leave out their IPs because that is the bread and butter. Once you give it out, people can just copy it and make it happen. So while signing for both the corporates and the startups, it is important to publish and give it in writing on what are the IPs that they have, right? To get an understanding from the corporates that we know these are the IPs you come with. It need not be just patents. It could be patents, publications, or state of the art offering that you have telling that we have this and this belongs to us. Henceforth, what we do can be joined, but this actually belongs to us, right? So this here is where the legal documentation during signing of contracts becomes very, very important. If care is not taken here, it can be easily gobbled up. I mean, I don't say that corporates do that, but in multiple methods, either as a partner during partnerships, during direct offering, someone can actually pick it up and start implementing themselves. Yeah, hence it is important that you always have a view of looking at if something is not patented, if it is worthwhile patenting, it is important to do so because that can add much more value than just revenues bringing. And it is important to come to an agreement before the start of any topic that to showcase these are the IPs each entity already has and is not something which can be jointly done, right? Whatever is in the course of development, have an understanding whether it's a joint IP or where it belongs to and come to an agreement.
Sir, what are the right stage or appropriate stage of the startups when they should come to organization like you to showcase either at the idea stage or proof of concept stage? What is the best stage that you feel the startup should come so that the interface could be better?
Yeah. So Hiranmaji, here I have a thought, right? So if it is at a very nascent idea stage, the chance that a startup will be looked at are minimal. Yeah. So there should be some validation that they have done, either with one customer or with a willingness to pay with some revenues, basic revenues, even let's say 60, 70 lakhs or $100,000 is a good amount, right? But then it has to be validated externally with a customer. So this becomes quite important. The look at, they should have an idea of what is the product roadmap. They should have an idea of where this is going, where this is heading towards, and also not just think about the successes, right? They should also be able to show what was a failure due to which they pivoted and also now they're successful, right? So it is important to also take that into account, be aware of what they have validated in the market and tested, tried and tested. So most of the corporates look at mid-stage startups who have something already going on with existing customers. Yeah, that gives a belief or a trust that they know what they're doing. They've gone out on the field and tested something.
Wonderful. Great. I think that's a great amount of insights, and all the innovators and startup listening to you would have getting a lot of things, a lot of insights from it. Because many often, sometimes, as you mentioned, that the validation becomes very, very critical because everybody feels that idea can transform the world, but till you don't demonstrate that on the table, that remain a challenge. Sir, one more question I can take from the audience is, in case it is a translational kind of research or technology, which takes a little bit of gestation time, which takes 2-3 years to validate that technology and scientifically, and then take it to a product level and take. So, what is your suggestion for those kind of big technology based startups? Because they don't get an easy runway; their runway is a little longer. So they are not like me too or low hanging fruits. So if somebody is building a product in that domain, and particularly in India today, the ecosystem is not that mature. What are the things that they should take care in the initial days with some more patience?
Yeah, so here it is important to align with what we call the center of excellences, right? So, for example, 5G or quantum computing, 5G is still now already in. But if you look at quantum computing and things like this is something which a lot of people are talking about, but no one has a real good offering for it. Earlier it was with blockchain, but today blockchain has already started picking up with specific use cases, right? So here there are bodies which are working on standards and looking at what does it mean, and it is important for these startups to be aligned to these bodies to understand what is happening in these, or also there are certain developed countries which are starting off a little earlier there, right? So it is also important to align with those developed countries and look at what is flying there, learn from there on what is going well, what is not going well. Yeah, so in this case, for deep tech, for new age technologies, it is still good to go with the lean startup approach. Look at what is the problem you're solving. Yeah, just because it is a deep tech doesn't mean we have to start working on a platform for 2 to 3 years. Does this deep tech really
One.
help solve a problem? Yeah, that will answer all the questions.
So it's the need base. How closely the innovators are solving a real problem. That's what I can sense from you. That is it solving a real problem? Is it solving something which is persistently affecting industry or market? Sir, one last question I would like to put forward before you. You have been a leader in this open innovation program in India and BOSS, and also the Startup DNA program. You started very early, or your corporation started very early open innovation efforts. Uh, India per se is yet to catch up that way. But Startup India has happened at the right time. A lot of policy patronage is happening. A lot of states like Gujarat are putting a lot of resources to build this ecosystem. How do you see the ecosystem evolving in next decade in Indian context? How do you see the Indian ecosystem growing forward, looking at all the efforts that all of us are trying to do, or maybe your vision of how do you want to see it?
Yeah, a very good question, important one as well, because it is important for the ecosystem to come together, right? So it could be the universities which are working on basic research, it could be the corporates which are working on sustainable, sustained mode, or it could be the startups which are working on quick check, quick testing technologies. Yeah, so all these have to really come together, and that is happening. So if you look at initiatives right from the government through the corporates, how willingness of corporates to really work with external startups, to the startups actually working on technologies much ahead of the corporates, right? So all these are ensuring that the ecosystem is coming together, where people are able to work together, and it is imperative. So if someone doesn't do it, they lose out. So it is coming to a point where it is just imperative that someone really works together with the ecosystem to make it happen, contribute well to each other, so that there's a win-win on both sides.
Thank you so much, Hemantji. I think you were loud and clear. It is nobody's single man game. Everybody has to come together, rather complement, rather reinventing the game. Everybody should complement, and everybody should put forward. And I'm sure in next decade, as you told, if somebody is not doing, they will be left out. And those people who will be early mover or right mover, they will capture the maximum value in the ecosystem, or in terms of unlocking value in the 5 trillion economy in Indian vision of Honorable Prime Minister per se. Sir, I have gratitude for you for finding out time to talk to our innovators and startups today. And We are grateful on behalf of the entire innovation and startup ecosystem in Gujarat. I thank you on behalf of Department of Higher and Technical Education, Government of Gujarat. I thank you on behalf of Gujarat Students, Startup and Innovation Hub, iHub, and the entire community of innovators and entrepreneurs who want to closely work with the programs, the processes, the pedagogies, and center of excellences that Boss and others are driving. I'm sure this conversation was just the beginning, and sooner we should find out synergies of common interests and common areas to work, and we'll co-create the ecosystem. Thank you so much, sir, for joining today.